Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nitasha and I want to welcome you to another episode हम शाम की चाय जहाँ पे हम बहुत ही cool पाकिस्तानियों की कहानियाँ आपके सामने लेकर आते हैं. आज हमारे शो के गेस्ट हैं Hamza. It's nice to see you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Hamza is a friend. He's an influencer. He's the founder of Propaganda, and we're very, very excited to be talking to him. I'm actually meeting him for the first time. We've been friends for like 2 saal ho gaye?
Yeah,
2.5 years ho gaye?
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, and we finally get to meet. Well, thanks, Hamza.
And in Lahore.
Here in Lahore, of all places, हम clubhouse पे मिले.
That is true.
2 साल हमारी दोस्ती रही, and then finally,
We are meeting.
here we are.
At Shaam Ki Chai.
At Shaam Ki Chai, at Shaam Ki Chai. So this season, Hamza, I know we were discussing this earlier. It's about the 47 partition. And you have a very unique perspective of the youth of this country. And so what I want to discuss with you is how this whole event is perceived within our generation in Pakistan, right? And so I want to first learn from you, like when somebody goes to school here, when you were going to school, what did you guys learn when it came to the partition? How is it presented to a student in school?
So, at least in my experience, and I think at that time, जब we were in 2000 के अंदर we were going to school,
सही है,
right?
बिल्कुल.
And उसके अंदर was always कि you know partition was like you can't question it. Of course, partition होनी थी.
Yeah.
और मुसलमानों के लिए नहीं थी वो जगह और you know
सही है.
मसले हो रहे थे, pigs फेंके जा रहे थे, and the whole narrative, and it was Hindu Muslim, and
Yep,
you know
yep.
we never, I think वही बस surface level पे बात होती थी हमेशा कि हिंदू मुस्लिम और इसलिए partition होनी है. और उसके बाद हमसे ईस्ट पाकिस्तान भी ले लिया गया and सारा, and I think especially I coming from a family where my dad was in the army, my
Right.
grandfather was in the army,
बिल्कुल.
my dad's family was in the army, so it was always like you know India ये एक जंग है और वो ज़रूरी था, it's like inevitable.
Yeah.
But I think now that we go 10 years ahead, I wouldn't say people, मतलब I feel question करते भी होंगे तो school level पे नहीं करते होंगे.
सही है, बिल्कुल.
I feel जहाँ तक आ जाती है, I think people don't have वो क्या उसे कहते हैं कि I think there's so many other things now that have happened.
ठीक है.
कि partition has become, because look, अगर हम partition को अब देखें जो मुल्क के हालात हैं,
Yeah.
you know we clearly lost.
Okay.
You know in terms of economically अगर देखें,
Okay,
if
हाँ,
there was a
बिल्कुल.
competition, because always partition we were taught कि it's a competition, right?
एक है like school में partition के बारे में सीखना, but now as you've grown up in Pakistan, how does you know someone of your age group or younger generation view the partition?
I would say, I think now when I was in school I didn't have access to say internet जैसे अब होता है,
हाँ.
right? अब जो school भी जा रहे, they have a lot of access to
Yeah.
a lot of things, a lot of views. आप essentially रोक नहीं सकते views, right?
Right.
So I think वो बहुत एक massive shift आया है. I'm not saying it's a good shift or a bad shift, because हर तरह की news होती है. There's a lot of garbage out there as well.
Of
You
course.
can you can fall for anything. But I do feel this idea to question things has definitely prompted up, right?
बिल्कुल.
And I think there's a difference between, I would say, there was a time that, you know, we were more patriotic in terms of our partition, and, you know, we got Pakistan and how we're lucky we are to have Pakistan
Right.
and whatever. I think that thing is now diminishing a little.
Okay.
Because most of the younger generation wants to get out of Pakistan,
Right.
right?
Right. Yep.
And it's now on a much bigger scale, because their actual concerns कि economically नहीं sustainable, आप loan में हैं, you know,
Yeah.
you don't even know कि आपको next loan मिलना है,
नहीं
जिससे
मिलना
आपकी country run कर सकती है, आपके assets deplete हो रहे हैं. पहले भी शायद ऐसी चीजें होती होंगी, it wasn't that much in the open, because now हर बच्चे को access है.
Right.
पर जब हम स्कूल में थे, we didn't have access to these things. आपको
Right.
न्यूज़ में जो वो भी बड़े न्यूज़ देखते थे, खबरें देखते थे, आप ऐसे
आप नहीं
जितनी
देखते थे.
खबरें नहीं देखते थे,
Right, right, right.
अब आपके फोन पे है खबर, like
Yes.
everything is there, one can make a meme out of it,
Yes, yes.
or whatever. So I feel we do have now a generation that is more questioning, but also I would say in terms of partition, we, at least the Gen Z, I would
Yes,
say,
yes.
does not have a link with partition as such.
Right. Right.
I don't think it's a topic of discussion even. I don't think it's, you know, they want to know more. They're like, sure.
हो
right?
गया, जो भी था,
You know,
whatever.
And you can't blame them, right?
Right.
Because now there are more real concerns they have to worry about. There's so much happening now.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So partition is obviously like, you know, jung hai, right? It's always presented as like a jung, and there's always, you know, in any kind of war, there's a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like, you know, do you think Pakistan won? You know, like was there a winner? Is there ever a winner when this many people die?
No, I don't think there's ever a winner. I don't think anyone won. I
Yeah.
think I think there's a lot of loss of lives, and you know, अगर हम जब अपने ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स से पूछें, you know, अब वो भी नंबर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता खत्म होता जा रहा है of people who
बिल्कुल.
have actually lived
Yes.
that experience,
Yes.
right? And it was a horror show.
Of course.
मतलब, you know, people imagine हमें इतनी तकलीफ होती है, थोड़ा सा चेंज होता है. Imagine overnight you're told, leave your house,
Yes.
go to this other side that you have no idea about.
Yep.
Just because एक लकीर बन गई, जो अभी हमें बाद में पता चला वो लकीर भी उस बंदे ने बस लगा दी थी.
Randomly, वो तो कभी आया भी नहीं था.
Exactly,
Yeah.
one time came
Yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
3 or 4 weeks
और हमने
ago
बात भी
something.
सुन ली. हम
हाँ,
किसी की
हमने
बात
सुन
नहीं
ली, हमने
सुन
सुन
ली.
ली.
We don't listen to anybody. और हमने कहा ओ अच्छा हाँ.
Right, so and I feel so you know it was a horror show. It
Yeah.
was a horror show, and I think a lot of unlucky things happened to Pakistan uske baad. I think Qaid-e-Azam passed away.
Yes.
I think if that probably had, you know, he would have lived for a few more years, maybe things would have slightly different.
Okay.
Right? I
Yeah.
think future में भी also, and here's the thing, right? हमने कुछ basic चीज़ों पे आज तक debate होती है. Like even if you take partition से, जैसे even जिना के courts पे आज तक debate होती है कि हम क्या nation है? Are we a nation based on Islam
Yep.
and just Islam, or is it a nation that is there to safeguard the rights of minorities? And everyone you talk to can take out a different Jinnah quote and be
Yes.
like, yeah, this is, look what he meant. No, Jinnah
Yeah.
was also a human being, but you can go on the structure of what he was trying to
Of
build.
course.
Right? And he was also a politician.
Right.
So
Yes,
he
he was,
had to
yes.
do things what a politician would
has
do.
to do. Yeah, of course.
So I think कुछ चीज़ों को भी also उस वजह से एक I think rigidity भी आई, उस
बिल्कुल.
confusion, और confusion भी बहुत सारी आई.
बिल्कुल.
Right? And you see that confusion till now.
Yeah.
Going ahead कि यार पाकिस्तान का मकसद क्या है, right? और अगर
Yeah.
I would say even if we take the Islamic version of it, हम वो भी सही तरह नहीं करते.
नहीं
because
करते.
It becomes more of a, अगर आप सुन्नी हो, अगर आप you know privileged हो और आदमी हो, तो
Yes.
इस मुल्क में
It's
आपकी
very
you're
different.
more free.
Yes.
Right? Just like
Yes.
you can't deny that.
Right.
So really it really depends how you take partition. If you take partition as Pakistan was needed because minorities पे मसला और था, persecution हो रही थी, great. But the result that you're not safeguarding your own minorities.
Yep. Yep.
If the result was कि नहीं यार हमने मुसलमानों को एक जगह देनी है जिधर मुसलमानों का power hold होगा,
Yes.
maybe
शायद.
maybe you I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
so.
yeah. तो पाकिस्तान का क्या मकसद है? What do you think?
I think पाकिस्तान में खुद नहीं पता. But I feel that's not important though.
Okay,
right?
what's
Like
important then?
why is it important कि पाकिस्तान के नाम का मकसद क्या है? I think it's important as a country where we are right now.
Right.
How are we progressing over it? मैं कह दूं पाकिस्तान का मतलब है equality आना.
Sure.
What will that achieve?
लेकिन what values are you gonna use to then progress the country, right? Like मकसद में से तो ये आता है ना कि हमारे ये anchoring values हैं, फिर इसके हिसाब से हम country को आगे बढ़ाएंगे.
Yeah, anchoring values, but I would also argue that anchoring values though change with how the world is changing. I'll give you Saudi Arabia as an example.
Okay, yeah,
Saudi
well,
Arabia
yeah.
के anchoring value
Yeah.
Islam.
Right. Yep.
Religion. Now what Saudi Arabia is doing is clearly alternative ways
Yes.
to earn money. Where
Yes, of
oil
course.
is depleting, उन्हें पता है.
Of
एक
course.
time पे oil नहीं
नहीं
economy में
होगा,
नहीं
yep.
dependent, हमने और चीजों में घुसना है, and they have
Yeah.
the money to do it.
Yes, they do.
So you really need to see कि as a country आप किधर हो, आपने कैसे रहना है. You know, how
Yeah.
are you gonna get out of these rhetorics? I feel that's also a problem in Pakistan. I feel
Yes.
we like to see, we think we're in a movie.
Right.
We think we're in a movie and we are chosen ones.
बिल्कुल.
And somehow the other हम बच जाएंगे. Like, you know, इस economic
Yeah.
crisis में लोग हैं ना, बच ही जाएंगे यार,
हो
हमेशा
ही
से
जाएगा,
बचते
इंशाल्लाह
हैं,
मियां, you know,
बच
कर ही
जाएंगे,
देंगे कुछ ना
smog
कुछ,
है,
yeah, of
जिंदा ही
course.
हैं, जिंदा रह
Yeah,
जाएंगे.
yeah,
I think we
yeah.
need to get out of that. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that generational trauma exists because of the partition? We don't talk about it, but you know what our parents went through, our grandparents went through. Do you think at least our generation in the country feels it?
Yeah, in my personal experience, I wouldn't say my generation
ठीक
feels
है.
it, but I feel my parents' generation, sure, has
Okay.
maybe, you know, lived it more.
Yes.
Because उन्होंने जो किस्से सुने
Yeah.
और वो उस टाइम पे लिव करे थे और उस वक्त हर साल you know 14th August used to be a bigger celebration. Even
Right.
people used to gather around
Yes.
PTV और देखते थे कि क्या हो रहा है. और सब military parades भी लोग देखते थे.
बिल्कुल,
So
बिल्कुल.
it was a different time. We were more involved
Yeah.
in that aspect. I think वो involvement obviously अब चली गई है.
Yeah.
Right? There's also now there's another debate. There are ample things to do, but they are part of it, right?
Right,
like,
right.
Phone pe you have other things where you give your energy to,
Energy and time.
and you can easily. So I don't think our generation really feels it. But again, depends, right? आप किस तरह की, like, there are also stories in Lahore of
Yeah.
people जो partition के time से उनके property के मसले चल रहे हैं. You know,
हाँ.
because वो उधर move कर गए लेकिन उस पे किसी और ने
Yes.
ले ली property and they're still going on.
Yeah,
So it also
yeah.
depends really who you talk to.
Right, right, right. Okay, that makes sense. So looking forward, I mean, what do you think is the future of Pakistan? I know that's a loaded question, but like, you know, where does it go from here? You know, ab to yahan aa gaye, you can't undraw the line. And so we're
Yeah.
in this situation. Kya kare? Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think matlab, you need good governance.
No,
I think
okay.
that's A.
Yeah.
I think on our front, I think people can only do so much now. Like,
Yeah.
kya like, everyone is looking for a job, I guess. You know,
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
is trying their best. We can say,
Right.
rules, I guess, follow kare log.
Sure.
But where core it starts from good governance, right?
Yeah.
Telling, agar aapne smog le lete hain, smog khatam karni hai, make rules or apply them. There
Yeah,
are rules
yeah,
already
yeah,
in place,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Apply them. Obviously, there are some reservation in terms of we are not a rich country. We need to realize that, and
Yes.
everything can't be done overnight,
Right.
right? So I guess move forward is, I think, don't lose hope.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think a lot of people who want to get out of the country. I do feel there is a lot you can do
Yeah.
by being in Pakistan.
Yep, you can.
And yeah, that's
pretty much.
that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Have some faith.
Have some faith.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you work hard. Anywhere you work hard, you can make something.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Inshallah, I'll be back एक और episode के साथ. Until then, Allah Hafiz.